we've completed our book and we have our pages done with the pockets attached and the labels attached, I went through and constructed all of my pages so that I would have them done, ready to put into the book. I'm going to show you how to put them in. No, there's no ephemera on them or anything else. I want to take my time and decorate these pages a little later. But we're going to show you how to do the construction part right now. Let me see if I can get this adjusted for you. Okay, so I went ahead and put some 1-inch score tape on the back of them, down each side closely. I'm going to be using that to anchor it to my gusset, which these little pleats will adhere. But just to support it, I'm going to be using my art glitter glue in addition to that. You notice I removed my fine tip. I need more glue than what comes out of the fine tip to make sure these pages hold in place. So first thing I'm going to do is take my back page, which is number 11 and is called Favorites. I'm going to pull my backing off. In fact, let me make sure, yeah. Pull the backing off of the paper here. Good. And I'm going to lay this down right up next to the gusset. Now I'm going to pull in real close. You can probably see that I'm going to be putting it to where the gusset itself is going to show just a hair. So I'm going to lay it down flat. I'm going to make sure that it's straight in my book. This is important. You want to make sure that it looks good and straight within the book itself. Okay. I'm going to apply some glue right over top of that tape. And I'm going to lay that pleat, as I call it, over this page. I have to push in those little extra edges there. Okay. I think you could see it for this camera. Did you see how I got it down nice and flat? Good. All right. So it's actually anchored now to that pleat. If you were to look on the back side of this, even though it's not completely dry yet, you aren't going to see much of an edge, but it's not going to crimp. If I put it all the way down to the flush part of that spine, it's going to tear the papers when I turn it back and forth. Okay, now I'm going to be applying the next one, page. So what I'm going to do is pull the backing off of this one. I just prepped these to make it speedier in the video for you. I'm going to now take the glue and I'm going to run it down on the back of this page that I've already anchored down. And I'm going to put it just slightly on that pleat, on the opposite side from what we just did. I need heavy glue there because I want to make sure this stays through whatever I'm going to be doing with the book later on. Now I'm going to match up. Got to be careful here because that tape is very sticky. I'm going to match up, leaving 1/16 of an inch of my pleat showing so that the spine itself is not actually touching my papers. Now I'm going to press that together. I'll show it to you in just a second. You got to go slowly with this process because you want that glue to hold. And my page is actually constructed of the 2 pages bound together to form a nice thick page that will support the weight of the recipes and any future use. So my page will now turn. Isn't that great? All right, so that's how we did it. Now let's repeat that process for the next one. And I hold it down for just a few moments. If I'm off camera, I would probably hold that down for like 3 minutes to make sure everything sticks really good. And burnish it to make sure. But we're on film, so I've got to go ahead and get the next one for you. All right, the next one will be cakes and meats. So what I'm going to do here, same thing. See how it fits right in? And I'm going to line it up with this edge down here and this edge up here so that the book will, when it opens, will be perfectly straight. Now I'm going to take off my tape. I'm going to wait on the glue, except for right here. I'm going to put just a little bit down here. And I'm going to butt that up, keeping my pages straight. Sorry for my head in the frame. Okay, and I'm going to take this down to my pleat. Bend my pleat over. Excellent. Make sure I've got a little bit of room there. I do. Hold that down just a little bit. I've got some glue on my fingers. That's okay. I'm going to rub it on here because it's going to be covered up. Now I'm going to add my extra glue here. Take off the backing of my other page. Hopefully, Sherry got these lined up correctly, and this is the correct back page. Okie doke. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to leave a 1/16 of an inch down there. I'm going to stand it up so that my page edges match. See, if I turn it over, the page edges will match now up around through here. Press together. Get that nice and firm. And like I said, if you're doing this at home, I want you to take your time doing this and make sure that glue is good and dry, because as you make your pages, this puckers a little bit. What I'd like to do is kind of leave it standing straight up until it dries. Okay? So what I'm going to do right this minute is take a stand and see if I can prop that up to where it will stand up a little bit. There we go. Now, let's do the next page. Now I'm going to let that dry until they get nice and firm, and then we're going to move on. While that is drying, I'm going to go ahead and take in my embellishment pack the page tabs out, and I'm going to take my little labels out, and I'm going to cut these so that they will fit these tabs. These tabs, what you do is you're going to be folding these in half. You'll have 5 of these tabs. We're going to put a different label on either side of them because you have 5 solid pages together. And we're going to take this and we're going to line with some double stick tape. What I like to do is use the 3/8 inch, I'm tongue-tied this morning, 3/8 inch right up next to the edge of that tab. I think you can see it. After I get that done, that's what's going to attach to the page itself. I'm going to close it. Make sure it's burnished good. I cut out my little labels, and I want to put the labels on here. So to do that, I put some more of the double stick tape on the back of my labels. And I'm going to just put a tiny bit of a red border at top. Lay that down, and that's going to be my tab to go on my book. Now I'm going to flip it over and put the other one on the back. One page will be the candy, one page will be the appetizers. And we're going to attach these when we go back to our book in a moment. So I went ahead and prepared all of mine: salad, side dishes, meats, cakes, bread, casseroles, and the last ones were cookies and favorites. Now you can put these in any order you wish. I'm only doing them in this order because that's what's on this page, so that you won't get confused, okay? All right, and at the top of each of the pages, it's going to match, so we're going to add those in a moment. So now my pages are pretty well dry in here. They're not totally dry just yet, but it flips nicely, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to put our tabs in now, and since there's 5 tabs, okay, the one in the middle will be the one I start with, then I'll go to the next one, etc. So the page that's in the middle of the book is going to be side dishes. Find it real quick here. Side dishes. So I'm going to flip over till I get to the side dishes, and I'm going to attach this right here in the middle. I'm going to anchor it down to where the tab is on the page itself over top of the mats. If you do this, it's going to stay nicely. If you wish to add glue, you're certainly welcome to. I haven't found it necessary, but depending on how unsure you are about that tab, you can go ahead and do that if you like. Now I'm going to put this in the very center. Let's see here. Need to raise it up just a smidgen. I'm trying to get it to where you can see it. I could have taken a centering ruler. Yes, I know. Me and my eyeballing. And then see, on the back side, it attaches here, and I'm pressing down firmly. Now I'm going to take the next one. Let's go ahead and do the back ones. So I've got the next one's going to be side dishes. No, that's what we just did. Meats. So I'll pull my little backings off. And I'm going to lay this one down so I can see how much room I've got. I'm going to stack it right here. See? Oopsie, out of frame. So I'm going to stack it right there using this one as a guideline because I got one more to go. And then I'm going to stick the back down. Okay, so I have 2 tabs on. The last one on the back is going to be the cookies and the favorites. So I'm going to pull my backings off of that one. You can see you can start with any of them. If you have more than 5 pages, then you'll have to place them differently. So now this one is going to go on that last page. It's this one here. So I don't even have to measure with that second page because I'm going to put it at the very edge. And then pull that over. Now you can see I've got 1, 2, and 3. Go ahead and do the front ones. Alrighty, we're going to do bread and casseroles. Make sure I get the right ones on. Okay, I'm going to put this one right here, I believe. Let's see if I like that. Yes, that looks good. And then stick that on. And finally, we're going to do candy. And again, I'm not going to worry about whether or not it's in the center. I'm going to put it right over to the edge there. Now my tabs are in my book. Great. Okay. And now our book closes. Isn't that cool? So your inside of your book is pretty much finished as soon as you do all your ephemera and so forth. You can do it first, or you can wait till you get the pages in and they dry. We're not going to do that ephemera or the decor until at all on the videos. I don't have time for them. It'll make it way too lengthy. So we're just going to leave it as this inside the book. Now, let's go ahead and get the outside covers done. Well, this is the last segment of our video for the recipe book. So we're going to be doing the cover and the outside of the book. Here's the spine. And then we're going to be doing the back. Okay? You're going to find that in your kit, you have an envelope that has recipe book cover with cover mat and embellishments. And it has a variety of different embellishments in there. You do not have to use all of them. This is for your pleasure. If you want to add all of them, you can. I will show you how I added them, and you can make the cover your own. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull out these contents of the papers and put our mats on. A couple of things I need to explain. This is the border for the front of your book. It is white cardstock, and you're going to be trimming it down. I die cut these out for you. I did not trim it because depending on what you want, you may want it a little shorter. So I just went ahead and left it, and we'll do that together here shortly. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the back cover on. All right, and to put the back cover on, we're going to take our book. This is the front, the spine. This will be the back. When you open it up from this direction, you should see favorites. I know that sounds silly, guys, but you'll do it upside down or you'll do it backwards. So I kind of remind you on each video when you're doing a book. Now, you're going to need your red mat that came in your kit. And you're going to be attaching that to here. But don't do that just yet. You're going to need to cut out from your printed papers. You're going to need to cut out a mat to go on here. I have several different ones that I had already pre-cut. I thought, well, maybe I can use these. In fact, this one's close enough that I think I'm going to go ahead and use it on this. Because I put double-sided adhesive on there. And I don't want to waste that. So I think I'm going to trim it just a hair and make this my back cover. Your back cover, if you're wanting to know the exact size of your back cover, let's refer to our handy cutting guide. And in the last section here, back cover, printed paper mat cover should be an 8 by 10. All right. So mine's just a hair smaller, so let me cut that real quick so that I can trim that down nicely. And I really want to use this piece. this if it won't fit my cutter. My little personal trimmer. Okay, so before I put this red mat on the book, I'm going to go ahead and mat this down. Now first, let me kind of dry fit so I'll know where I want to put that. Because with that double stick adhesive, guys, I don't get a second chance. Now, I'll show you a neat trick. If you'll hold it in place where you want it, pull the adhesive back, the backing, I'm sorry, then lay it back down. It's going to hold it in place while you remove the rest of the adhesive. Just make sure you keep it straight. Now, wasn't that easy? So, it's a little trick I learned a long time ago that makes it life very simple. And that will be a nice flat surface for me. Okie doke. Now, I'm going to take the red side and I'm going to add my glue. I'm going to pull this fine tip off and give it a good dose of glue here. Okay, and I'm going to put that on the back of my book. Because we use the glue, you have wiggle room, so line it up straight. Good, and put that down. For your spine, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take the red piece and we're going to mount some, we're going to mount the paper to it, and I'm trying to decide what I want to use. So I found the piece that goes on here. I'm going to go ahead and attach it. According to my cutting guide, it is cut to 1 3/4 by 10 1/8. The mat is cut 1/8 of an inch less. So I'm going to have a narrow top and bottom. All right, and we're going to glue this down to our end. Hard to hold this upright with those tabs in there, but we're going to try. Here, I'll turn it sideways. That does make it easier for you. Pull it down. Make sure it's kind of straight. Press that down. All right, we got the back and the spine done. Now let's get this pretty front done. You'll notice on the cover I have here, make sure your hands are clean at this point. You don't want fingerprints and glue all over the cover of your book. Just a word of wise, because I've already done that once. See how it's constructed all in one set thing? I did that off of the book and then put it down. I felt like that was safer. I didn't want to ruin the whole book if I messed up on my cover. So we're going to do that same thing. Now, I'm going to leave this image right here so you can see what we're doing and work from over here. It's a little more crowded, but I think that'll be more obvious for you to be able to see the finished product next to it. I'm going to start by putting my die cuts. I die cut these pieces out. I printed this and then die cut it out. And you can put it down flush or you can pop it up, whichever you would rather do. I want mine popped up a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and take my double stick tape, mounting foam. I cleaned up, can't find my scissors. Okay, and I'm going to stick this down on here. Just going to put strips. It'll stay nice and flat when I get done. If you have a big thick one, you can do that. Alrighty, let me add just another piece or two because I do want it to be level. Especially on these ends. Perfect. Okay, I'll make sure that little tab there doesn't show. Burnish that down so these stay nice and permanent. Pull my backing off. And put this down onto my mat. I'm just going to center it in the middle. Close enough. There we go. Now, let me pull it down just a hair. Okay, so that's got that piece. Now, the base piece is actually going to be your printed paper. It's the green stripe. It's cut out to 8 1/4 by 9 3/4. And then I also cut out the plaid paper that goes on top of it. It is 8 inches by 9 1/2. Again, that's on your cutting guide. First thing, we're going to use this as our anchor piece for the whole front. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this in place. Okay. Now you don't have to worry about this being too centered because we're going to cover most of it up anyway. All right, now that I've got my back on there, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my 2 borders. Now, would you think it would look better across the tops and the bottoms versus the sides? I don't know. I think I'm going to keep it with the side instead of a top and bottom. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to trim off on this end like that. Then I'm going to see if it measures correctly on here. Nope, we're going to have to trim off a little bit, so I'm going to clean off that back piece. Then I'm going to keep them together because I can cut both at one time. I'm going to lay this down. As long as I keep them straight, I can cut them both at one time. I'm going to lay it down to where I see it's where I want it. And then I'm going to take a pencil, mark it. You can trim that with a cutter, or if you got a good steady hand, do it with scissors. I didn't say I had a good steady hand. If there's a pencil mark left, erase it. Now, I did put mounting foam underneath, again, using my big giant roll. One of these days, I'm going to pull out my really big roll and show it to you. This is nothing. Oh, I need to use a thinner one, don't I? Okay, we'll pull out the thinner roll if I know where it is. Oh well, I'll just cut that down the middle. I have a 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, inch. I have them all the way up to 12 inches wide. Yes, I'm obsessed with foam tape. Okay. You know that from previous videos, though. Now, don't you? Okay, I'm doing the back side. You know, when you die cut, it rounds off the front where it die cuts. So you want the back side when you're doing this so that it has a nice, pretty shape to it. Okie dokie. Good enough. Now that I've got the mounting foam, I'm going to go ahead and put this down. Then we're going to build on top of that. I know it's taking a moment, but that's okay, guys. You can fast forward at any point you need to. I'm lining that up with the edge of the green paper, I hope. Very good. I'm checking it on the back. Doing this side here. Get that a little straighter. Perfecto. Now we've got our borders on there. See, that looks nice for it to be popped up like that, just a smidgen. Isn't that pretty? Okay. You know, you can tell what time of the year it is when you see all these healthcare calls coming in wanting you to buy Medicare supplements or change your insurance and all kinds of good stuff. So you may see some things pop up on my screen. All right, we've got that done. Now we're going to affix the red piece here onto the paper. And I'm going to glue that down because I'm going to attach all of this to the book before I put on the ribbons and the hollies and the die cuts, because I want to have this in place. And I just kind of placed it where I placed it a little high because I've got this collection here. So I placed it just a smidgen high. Can line it up. One of the beauties of having this plaid paper is you can line it up according to it. We'll press that down. Now I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to put glue on the back and I'm going to attach this to the front of my book. We're almost done, guys. There's so many ways to make a recipe book. The spring, I'm hoping to make an heirloom recipe book for you guys using the most beautiful paper in the world. And it'll be a completely different format. Something that you can cherish and put in family pictures and things like that along with it. So that's coming up down the road. I'm going to center this now on my cover. Good. Make sure it's nice and even. Press that down. You can see how we're building side by side here. Okay. And now, let's see what's in this ephemera bag. All kinds of goodies, guys. All kinds of goodies. The ribbon, I tied a multi-loop ribbon to go in the center. I will tell you where I got everything. This greenery. This was pretty greenery that I got at, I think it was Hobby Lobby. It was a wreath, and I pulled the pieces out of the wreath because I don't want that big chunk on my cover. What I plan to do is take some scissors and cut these pieces so I have greenery in the background and it lays a little flatter. So you may want to go ahead and do that as well. Trim off some of that. You can leave some clusters. Okay. I'm very happy with that little collection there. I'll put that to the side. If I can find room for it here. Then you have some beautiful gold leaf die cuts. Those are going to give you a little flashiness to your front. You have some holly, and these are epoxy. They will break. They're sharp, so do not poke yourself. Warning, do not poke yourself. And then, in addition to this, we have some little paper poinsettias and gems. These are not adhesive gems. There's only one, the tiny ones are adhesive. The rest of them we glue on there. So, the one thing you're going to need now is probably some snips. Wire cutters. Let me see if I can find a pair. So I'm going to take my holly off. And if you've got really strong snips, you can snip off these extra edges. I'm not worried about it because I can hide them underneath my ephemera and other things. I just worry more about you poking yourself with those leaves. So let me take out my little die cuts here. So I'm going to start with this upper corner, and I'm going to put one of my die cuts right about there. I'm going to put my holly, and I'm going to put one of my poinsettias. And I really want to trim that down, so let me get a strong pair of snips here and see if I can get it to cut. And if I can't, I'll have to cut. Whoa! Okay, so, yes. I think my husband did those for me earlier, so we know now. Be prepared. Yeah, that's what we're going to do up there. I'm going to put those. I think that will be pretty, just to put that like that. Now, before I put that on, in my little gem bag here, I've got 4 green large gems. Okay? The reason why I'm pointing this out is because I want to put those underneath the ephemera. Just the green ones. We're going to put one in each corner. I'm trying to hurry here. Got one more. Okay. And I'm going to use the glue to put these in place. So I'm going to do a dab. A dab. Yes, a little dab will do you. And then I'm going to take my tweezers, because I have glue all over my fingers, and place those on there, making sure I kind of get them straight. That one's a little high. And I will tell you, you're going to cover these mostly, so it really doesn't matter. But that can be drying while we're doing the rest of it. Very pretty. Okay. Now that we've got that, so I can move some of this out of the picture. All right. I'm going to work for just a second down here. Oh, that's a nice big piece, isn't it? I think I'll cut it too. Got some good pieces out of this little sprig. All right. The heavier piece I want on the left-hand side to pull my swag. And this time, I'm going to do the swag. Instead of a centerpiece like the one here, I'm going to do a long swag down this way. Just for the fun of it. And so I'm going to go ahead and pull the rest of my little holly off here. And I'm going to take those out. Now the red berries, they will fall off if you cut this too short. So if that happens, glue them in place. Nobody's going to know the difference on your book. Trust me, they do not show up. So I'm going to take, in fact, I'll probably just take one apart to show you. I'm going to pull the berries out of this one. Get those, see there's one there. And then I'll take the other one here and cut it off. I'm getting black stuff on my book, and I don't want that to happen, so I'm going to have to do it off screen or down here in the edge. Whoa! Isn't this fun? Okay, now I'm going to take and cut my holly up here close to the heads of it, and the reason being, it'll be a lot easier to cut. See, I'm just cutting one wire instead of 10 layers of tape. So now I can take these and place them like this. I can add my little berries. It's going to look just fine when I get done, so I don't have to worry. I'll cut another one. There we go. It came apart because I cut too high, so I'm good with that. Remember, we can just stick it all on there and then glue it in place. Here's another one. I'm getting old. Can't cut these like I did before. Okay. Spread that out. In fact, I'm going to make this one a little trifecta here. So now we can go ahead and do our ribbon. I will take it and put my bow maker out. I'm going to do a larger ribbon. That's a good size there. And I'm just going to go around, keeping my ribbon straight a number of times till I run out of ribbon. And then I'm going to tuck it. Like that. May not have left enough ribbon. I think I'll do one less bow and get a little bit more room there. There we go. So now I've got the ribbon. I'm going to take it around. Okay. Take this over here underneath. Not sure if you can see all this on frame. I'm sorry, I'm trying. Okay, now I'll pull this off. Get my little ribbons to show. There we go. Make a nice full bow. That's kind of our key element on the front here, so I want to make sure I have my ribbon done. And like I said, I'm going to put it in this corner and make a swag. So I'm going to go ahead and hush for a few minutes and put this together with the sound off and speed it up so you can see what I'm doing. And it won't take as long that way. And if you want to do yours differently, please feel free to do so. So I'm going to go ahead and get silent for a minute and get this done. And then I can glue it together. I use die cuts last because I can always fit them in somewhere. And they hold with the glue usually that I already have in there. So let's put one, how about like this? I think that would look pretty. And then one more here. Or maybe up here. I like that better. After I get this done, then I'm going to go ahead and Good. Get the rest of my gems on. I'm going to have to let this dry for some time before that will be anchored. So I'm not going to be able to pick it up in this video, but you get the general gist. Isn't that pretty? Let me go a little closer so you can see how I did that one. A little different, and I did base it a piece of tape underneath it so that I could keep it level so the glue wouldn't fall off. Now the remaining portions of my gems I can add anywhere I like. I've got, there may be more in there. I may have dropped them. I'm going to put 1 or 2 on here. I'm going to place them, then I'll glue beside it. These are clear gems. And I may have given you extras. If I did, that's fine. You can use as many as you wish. I think I'll do this. 1 here, 1 up here, 1 there. That looks pretty good there. They say to always put them in 3s. I don't know how true that is, but it looks pretty. And you can add some red gems on there if you like. I'm going to go ahead and glue down the clear ones as soon as I wipe off my tip. All right, take my tweezers, place that, catch the little fella. And folks, we're finished with our book. Like I said, you can add other berries or other ephemera, however you wish. I hope you've enjoyed this video. You still have 8 note cards to do, or if you haven't already done them, watch that video and get those made as well. And I hope you have a very happy holidays and that somebody really cherishes this. And as I always say, when you make a book, sign the back and date it, because it is a cherished thing, a completely made book for someone. Fill it with wonderful recipes, and if you want to send me one, I would love to have your favorite Christmas recipe. I have a passion for recipes. I cook a lot. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. See you in December.